You're in an obscure library in the Jezreel Valley.
Yeah.
You go to check out a book to read in Hebrew, and the lady just recommends you
Yes.
a Book of Mormon?
Yes. Even when I said no thank you, she said, no, this book is for you. You must read this.
Was she a Jewish lady or LDS?
Yes, she was a Jewish immigrant from South Africa.
What the heck?
Ladies and gentlemen, history is being made on multiple fronts here. First, Avraham Gileadi has never done, to my knowledge, you can scour the internet, he said this was his first, but he's never done an in-person interview. And we got to hear his conversion story, which is basically a scene out of... It's comparable to an LDS version of Forrest Gump, in my opinion. It's insane. And he's an incredible scholar on Isaiah. We're going to be coming out with more interviews with him talking about Isaiah and the Book of Mormon. Also, this morning, we posted our very first episode of Latter-day Saints, our daily news and pop culture commentary show made by Latter-day Saints for Latter-day Saints. Go check it out in the link in the description. But without further ado, Avraham Gileadi.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode on the Stick of Joseph YouTube channel. Today, we have an awesome guest who has an incredible story to share with us about his conversion to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints via the Book of Mormon. And I don't know a ton about it. I know it goes to the Catholic Church, and then it goes to Israel, to an obscure Book of Mormon that was given to him. And I don't know the full story, so we're excited.
And up until now, people have thought he was just an AI generation because he's never been seen in person on camera
before.
But we can verify
he's real.
He is
Avraham Gileadi, welcome to the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hayden and Jackson. Such a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good conversation today. Before we get into it, I want to let everyone know, November 8th, the Isaiah Institute is putting on a digital summit called The Words of Isaiah, an End Time Iron or Rod of Iron. And it's on November 8th. In order to sign up, go to isaiahinstitute.com. And I think once you hear about Brother Gileadi's background, you're going to be interested to hear what he has to say about the book of Isaiah. So without further ado, Avraham, who are you? And what are you doing here?
I'm still asking myself that question.
Yeah, tell us about your background, where you came from.
Yeah, I was born in Holland.
In Holland?
Holland, yes.
Okay.
Netherlands. In the south of Holland, in Limburg, in a town called Maastricht. And my first memories were of the war, the Second World War.
Okay, so because you were born in the late 30s?
I was born in 1940.
1940, okay.
The war started in 1939.
Wow.
And Germany captured Holland in about 3 days. My dad was a captain in the Dutch army, but when Holland was overran, he joined the Dutch underground.
Interesting.
And helped New Zealand pilots and others to escape to Britain. That's how we got to emigrate to New Zealand eventually.
Okay.
After the war.
I didn't know New Zealand was very involved in World War II.
Oh, yes. The New Zealanders and Australians
helped out a lot.
Part of the British Empire. And Canadians also.
Oh, at the part of the British Empire at that time. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I had a very spiritual childhood as a Catholic. My uncle was, my mother's brother was a priest, and he was killed in the war by a shell. That he had been ministering to a person on the ground that was, had been hit by a shell and was dying, and he himself was killed by the next shell in the same spot. So and my childhood was actually very wonderful in Netherlands after the war.
Yeah.
That my first memory was of planes crashing, and our house in our street was bombed.
Yeah.
The only one in the street.
Really?
It was like I grew up with those memories. I hardly ever saw my dad.
When did World War II end? Is it 44?
45.
45. Okay, so yeah, I mean, 5 years old, you're gonna have those memories. That's crazy.
My first toys were little tin soldiers.
Wow.
So he did help several people escape back to England. His organization did, and we even had a German. When the house was bombed, we went down in this coal cellar, and we even had a German soldier who didn't want to fight for Hitler anymore. We housed him for a while.
Really?
Yeah. And there was scarcity of food that I remember, and my ancestors were from a smaller village, and so my dad was able to plant some food supplies from there. But as soon as he could, he started a business after the war. He became successful as an electrician, and then we immigrated to New Zealand when I was about 10 years old.
Okay. And didn't speak a lick of English whatsoever?
Actually, yes. I had learned some English from some monks that were where I served Mass, if you know what that means.
Actually don't know much about it.
From age 7 to 10.
Okay.
And these monks taught me English.
Okay.
Some English, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your Catholic upbringing then, because I'm really interested. One thing that, and we're working with one of our friends to hopefully get a Catholic monk in here, because I love the liturgical aspect of the Catholic Church.
Yes.
And I think that Protestant America has completely gone away with liturgy. And when I look at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and what really ties me in is it has, I think, what's good of Protestantism and what's good of Orthodox Catholicism. It has that liturgical aspect. So you participated in some of that when you're growing up, and explain to us a little bit, because we don't know much about what it looks like doing all the sacraments and things.
Right. So, yeah, I was called what's called an altar boy, which means that when the priest is conducting the Mass and blessing the sacrament, what we call the sacrament, and so forth. It is a whole liturgical procedure.
Procession, yeah.
And so what an altar boy does is ring the bell at certain intervals and help the priest in whatever needs helping. And during sacred moments, he ring the bell and so forth. And I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
So I felt that was a very interesting, deeply spiritual for me as a child, you know, grounding. So I guess that's where there was a foundation laid. And these monks were such pleasant people. You know, they had a big monastery with gardens and so on. They were really wonderful people.
Yeah.
I've never had bad experiences with monks. After the war, the Dutch government became very secular, and they bulldozed that monastery to make a parking lot. So
really,
it kind of gives you an idea of how secular Holland is now.
Holland
very atheist.
Has really gone off the deep end morally.
All through Europe, you see, the center of the town was always the church. Or the cathedral. Yeah, my grandfather was sang in the choir, and my two grandfathers on both sides sang in the choirs. And yeah, so I grew up with that. Kind of a sacred life, and I always had, from the time I was, what's they call Holy Communion, which a child is able to
partake of the communion,
7 or 8 or something. Like that. I had this deep testimony of Jesus, of his reality. Yeah, as if I knew him all along. You know, something like that.
That's awesome. That's really important. So then you moved to New Zealand. I assume you continue your Catholic life, being active in the Catholic Church.
Yes, I did. My siblings did not. I was the eldest of 6. Yeah, but so much so that I actually, in my teens, entered a Catholic seminary to become a priest, which is different from seminaries, LDS seminaries. You know, they're by the day, but there it was like a full-time. You enter a Catholic seminary. To be a priest, it takes about 5 or 6 years at least I did then.
You do the vow of celibacy and all of that.
Yes, all that. But after 6 months, I just didn't feel fulfilled there. It was too much ritual and not enough Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I left. I just figured that's not it. Well, then the next thing that occupied my attention was what the Jews were doing in Israel. And I thought, they must be fulfilling prophecy, because it says it right there that there's to be a return, you know, in the scriptures. To the promised land, to Israel.
And did you become very interested in the Book of Isaiah? When did you? Was that earlier or not until later?
In my
after
teens,
your conversion?
before I went to Catholic seminary, I started a rock and jazz group. Yeah, and we were very popular in my hometown. We were called the Spotlights, LITES.
Yeah.
And it was during the rock era. It was just beginning, and we became well known, and we really enjoyed the music. I mean, but I was also getting more spiritual, going back to my spiritual roots, and read it in the books of Adam and Eve, which are in the Apocrypha.
In the Apocrypha, yeah.
how the children of Cain, who lived on the plain, used to entice the people of the covenant who lived on the mountain mesa down from the mesa down the hill and to join them. And it describes them how they create this scene, like a kind of a ravishing scene.
Yeah, like they're dancing.
Yeah,
and
all that. With tattoos and how the music ravished the soul, said in that book.
Yeah.
And as I was playing this music and seeing all these people gyrating out on the dance floor,
you're like, oh no.
I'm playing music that ravishes the soul.
Yeah.
So I decided that wasn't for me.
So you hung up the guitar.
You're like, all right, not going to be a rock star, not going to be a priest.
Yeah, two extremes, right?
Yeah.
Had an astronaut.
I swung back the other direction. It's true.
So you get interested in the Jews and how they're fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, but I always felt that of all the books, so after studying the New Testament, right, I started studying the Old Testament. But when I got to Isaiah, I somehow just intuitively knew that book was more than what it's saying about those times in the past.
Yeah.
And so I just intuitively knew it, but anyway, so yeah, I earned enough money to immigrate to Israel because I felt that's where the Jews were fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
I wanted to be part of that. So.
And at what age was this?
About 27.
27.
Yeah.
So you move out to Israel. Do you get a job there? You don't
You try to become Jewish, or
what exactly happens?
Right. So this is what I did. I had a Catholic Douay Bible, and you know how there are pictures of the maps of Israel in the back. There's no internet. There's no what we have today, not even close. I never came across an actual map of Israel in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So that was the best I had. So I opened a map of Israel, a biblical map, and I saw these biblical names, and I pointed to a spot, and it was Jezreel, in the Jezreel Valley. And I thought to myself, when I get to Israel, that's where I'm going to go. So, okay. So I went there, and it felt like coming home to the land of my ancestors. So I stopped the taxi at the nearest field, plowed field, and kissed the ground, and felt, this is homecoming for me. So it was a strange feeling.
Yeah.
And so I located just for a few days with a family that from my aunt in Holland that connected me to. And then I went and studied on a kibbutz, which is a farming settlement, right? And there I studied Hebrew half the day and, work in the orchards, picking fruit or whatever it might be, the other half of it.
Gosh, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a pretty good life.
Actually, it's very nice. And they give you pocket money, and they take you tours around the country. It's great for LDS kids to do that.
Yeah.
You can learn Hebrew, and they really take care of you and watch over you. Yeah. So a lot of young people were doing that.
Yeah.
And I did that until I learned some Hebrew. And then I still had this desire to go to that place, Jezreel.
Jezreel Valley.
Yeah. So I went to the kibbutz office in Tel Aviv, on Yarkon Street. And I went to the kibbutz office and said, I want to locate in kibbutz Jezreel. And they said, well, the secretary of that kibbutz only comes here every 3 months, but he's here today. So this is great. So I asked him, he asked why. I said, I didn't want to explain this funny feeling I had.
Yeah.
So he said, okay. So there I milked cows and was in charge of the calves. Then I went to read my first book in Hebrew, but that kibbutz was the only one in Israel for Jewish immigrants from New Zealand and Australia and South Africa. So
you had that connection there.
I didn't know that. When I pointed that spot on the map,
Yeah.
had no idea of that. And that's where I found the Book of Mormon. When I went to read my first book in Hebrew in the library, this Jewish lady handed me the Book of Mormon in English and said, you should read that. And I thought, no, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, no thank you. Once a Catholic, always a Catholic, right?
Yeah.
So
you knew, okay, real quick. So you're in an obscure library in the Jezreel Valley.
Yeah.
You go to check out a book to read in Hebrew, and the lady just recommends you a Book of Mormon?
Yes. Even when I said, no thank you, she said, no, this book is for you. You must read this.
Was she A Jewish
LDS?
lady or LDS?
Yes, she was a Jewish immigrant from South Africa.
What the heck? So, so you knew something though about the church beforehand, like you knew of it of some
No.
sort, right?
I put it together with Jehovah's Witnesses and Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you didn't actually know anything. You just knew
No,
it was
nothing.
heresy. You know.
Yeah, exactly. From a Catholic point of view, yes.
Yes.
So I just took it to be polite, because I didn't want to refuse this kind lady.
Yeah.
Right, so I just read it out of curiosity when I had time.
Was it just one of those classic like hardbound blue Book of Mormons? Like,
It was brown,
oh, it's brown. Okay. Yeah.
but it was kind of a hardbound, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
And so every time I read it, I just felt like I was filled with light, which I later recognized in the influence of the Holy Ghost. But there were things in it that I couldn't quite reconcile, like Zion on the American continent. Zion was right there in Israel, You've been there. You just came back from there.
Yeah.
Mount Zion in the old city of Jerusalem. Things like that. And then I should tell you the story. Later on, I'll tell you another story about that. So I prayed about it, and I said, I felt, you'll learn more. You'll learn more about it. So
you read? Did you read the whole thing and then pray about it, or were you just praying about it as you were reading and stuff, or was it like you read the whole thing and you're like, followed the
I was
prompt?
intrigued by it.
Yeah.
It totally occupied me for a while. Yeah. And then I looked around for the church in Israel, and there was no church in Israel, LDS church in Israel. So after a year there at kibbutz, I thought, what's going on? So I prayed about what to do, and the Spirit said to me, you can have the Holy Ghost before being baptized. That's how you're going to test me of something, right? You've got to learn Judaism, the law of Moses, schoolmaster for the gospel. And so, okay. And so I went and studied with a rabbi, just from time to time. And they always teach whoever wants to learn. That's kind of their ethic. And he taught me, and then I thought, I've got to go all the way with this, And so I applied to convert to Judaism.
You converted to Judaism.
I
You
applied for
applied
that,
to
yes.
convert.
Yes.
Because what does that look like? I have no idea. Like, what does it look like to?
It's not like getting you baptized here.
Yeah.
No, as quickly as possible. No, they don't want converts. So
They don't want converts.
no.
No.
So you go in front of a court of 3 rabbis, and you ask to be baptized, and they ask you all these questions, and you've got to learn the laws, Judaism, the feast days and the kosher laws, and you've got to know something about the scriptures, and answer all the questions to their satisfaction. So that I did that for, and then they said, come back in a year.
And they'll let you know, or they were saying no, come try again.
Just come back in a year. So I waited a year and came back. And then,
And the whole time you're working on a farm milking cows.
yes.
Okay.
Well,
And other stuff.
other stuff, yeah. Orchards, whatever. Yeah. And so I came back in a year. Well, it took a year and a half altogether. And then finally they accepted me. So I went through a ritual bath,
Mikvah.
mikveh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a symbolic symbolic circumcision, because I already had. And I located on a religious kibbutz Shluchot, in the Jordan Valley. It's where they live a full Jewish lifestyle,
Yeah.
religious lifestyle. Yeah.
Huh.
I was never asked sensitive questions, so I didn't have to answer that.
You weren't asked about your thoughts on Jesus
Yeah.
and things of that.
I never was,
Yeah, it never was.
and so it never came up.
Interesting.
Yes,
Huh.
it's the Lord's doing.
So do now I don't want to like trivialize this, but do you get like a card, like a membership card that you're a Jew, or like?
I think so, as I remember. Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. So then I got citizenship as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
of Israel, and I'm still a citizen.
Okay. So does every Jew, no matter what, always have an automatic citizenship to Israel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, any Jew. Well, considered as Jew, but if you have a Jewish mother, at least.
Jewish mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, after some time there, I went to Jerusalem, and joined a rabbinic school there, and studied Law of Moses more intensely, and studied Isaiah. Had an Israeli, actually he was a American, I believe, professor or rabbi who was teaching Isaiah specifically. And most of the students were studying the Talmud with the head of the yeshiva, the rabbinic school. But I was just entranced with Isaiah. Yeah.
Quick question. So during this period of time, you're becoming a Jew. You consistently have faith in Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And did you read the Book of Mormon, and was it kind of a one-off thing, or did you continue to read from it and study it, or was it kind of like you had the spiritual experience, the Lord's like, no, I need you to do this from now on, you kind of put it on a shelf and move on? That. Is that what you did?
Yes.
Yeah. Huh.
Yes, I went all into Judaism.
Yeah, well, all in.
Right.
Crazy.
But still believing in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Personally.
Well, like Messianic Jews do. Yeah, they believe in Jesus, but they also...
But you weren't surrounded by Messianic Jews?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know any.
Yeah.
No, I went fully into Judaism.
Okay.
Right, and did everything. They even
Did
had...
you have the curls?
What?
Did you have curls?
I actually had a Nazarite vow from the time I was in New Zealand.
Really?
Yes, which is letting your hair grow long.
So how long did your hair get? You got any pictures?
And beard.
You got to see them.
I did. I had a beard down to here.
Really?
And hair down to my shoulders, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay.
So they actually had a poster that they published nationally for a feast day in which I stood like a head above others, and I was the main character in the poster.
Because you looked so
nationwide.
Like, with the beard and everything.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So after some time there at that rabbinic school, by the way, I'd given up the rock music in Israel, but someone lent me a guitar, so I created a lot of music for the Psalms in Hebrew. And I sang them on the radio. Kol Yisrael is a station, and on TV also there. Back in that day, it's around 1971.
Gosh, this is like Forrest Gump. I feel like I'm listening to Forrest Gump right now.
Maybe so. Maybe I am Forrest Gump.
Grow up in World War II, move to New Zealand, altar boy,
rock band,
read the Book of Mormon, become a rabbi. That's crazy. Okay.
I didn't become a rabbi.
Oh, not rabbi. You
not everybody who goes to rabbinic
study.
school studies to become a rabbi.
Okay.
Just to learn Judaism, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And it taught me a whole lot.
Yeah.
It taught me the manner of the Jew that Nephi talks about. And that is why the Lord wanted me to go through that process. Yeah. And after I'd learned that, a year at the rabbinic school, I came across the church, an address in the Jerusalem Post. Yeah, in English. And so I wrote a letter to this address, and I got a letter back immediately.
Because you're like the only one that ever wrote the letter.
Right. And this was from David Galbraith. He's quite well known in the church. And so, and from then on, for the next 8 weeks, I think it was, I would study in the rabbinic school in the day and go to David Galbraith's house in Bethany, about 5 miles away. And New Zealanders walk everywhere. It's over the hill. To David Galbraith's house to ask questions about the church.
So you would walk 5 miles there and 5 miles back?
Yeah. Sure.
And so David Galbraith, this guy, was he like the mission president there or something? Or like,
no, he was...
what was he doing?
He was head of the Jerusalem Center?
There was an Israel group.
Okay.
Yeah, this is long before the Jerusalem Center.
Yeah.
There was
like 70s, early 70s.
There was an Israel group at his home that met. And it was him and John Tvetness, who were both studying at the Hebrew U.
Oh, yeah, John Tvetness. I know.
Yes, John never finished, but David did. And David has served in many positions in the church.
So they took an ad out on the newspaper just to see like if there are any other Latter-day Saints in Israel that wanted to meet with them?
Something like
Pretty
that.
much,
I don't quite remember what it said, but I knew it was a LDS church. So.
Yeah.
And when he first opened the door, I marveled because there was a man who was full of the Spirit of the Lord. Unlike all the people I've been with, who didn't have the Holy Ghost, They were zealous for the Word of God, but they did not have that Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew I was at the right place. And so I asked thousands of questions.
You still have your Nazarite vow? You still had long hair, beard?
Wait a
at
second.
that time. Oh,
Wait a second.
Okay.
I get to it.
All right.
So yeah, after about 8 weeks of questioning, I felt this is of the Lord. So they baptized me in the Pool of Siloam,
Wow.
where Jesus healed the blind man.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
we literally just walked through. My wife and I, we walked through
Hezekiah's tunnel.
Yeah, Hezekiah's tunnel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
cool.
came out to the Pool of
bottom.
Siloam.
yeah.
Yeah. Does it still have water? When I was there one
Yeah.
time, it didn't have water.
Oh no, it's got
The first
water
time. Oh, yeah.
sometimes up to your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I tried to walk through it one time, and I was up to here, and I had a candle.
In
It was
Hezekiah's tunnel.
almost blowing out, and I thought, if this blows out, then I'm totally in the dark.
Dead.
So I never actually finished the job.
Yeah, that's scary.
But you walked through it.
Yeah, it
Now that
keeps
was
going.
built in the days of Isaiah, that tunnel,
Which is crazy.
No.
and they started from both ends, and they met in the middle.
It's insane how
Yeah.
they were able to meet in the middle.
Well,
They did
Isaiah
that
was-
right to make sure that because they were the Assyrians were trying to
Yes.
block out the water.
Yes.
So this was the way that they stopped
Right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Isaiah was a seer, so he knew
He knew
exactly
what to do.
where to meet.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy. Okay, so you get baptized in the Pool of Siloam.
Yes. And soon after that, the Israeli government made a law that Jews cannot be baptized in Israel. They'd have to go to Cyprus or somewhere else. Christians can, Arabs can, but not Jewish citizens. I was a Jewish citizen.
That's crazy.
So I don't know if I'm the only Jewish citizen that's baptized, but I certainly was the first that I know of. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I have an immense connection with the
The
land
Holy
of Israel.
Land. Yeah.
I put 3 years of my volunteer labor into that place, not just learning Hebrew, but also just volunteering. For
Oh,
the
so when you were living on these kibbutzes, they were essentially just boarding
It's
you,
like a
giving you
socialist
food.
Yes.
society.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
communistic.
Yeah.
Okay,
Basically.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
So, and then then I wanted to go to the temple, right, as soon as possible. If you're an LDS person, you're baptized. You want to. So, I had a job, and I also had this this project that by the way, 2 months after my baptism, Harold B. Lee was then the church president, and Elder Hinckley came to see Israel. And President Harold B. Lee ordained David Galbraith to be the first branch president
Oh, cool.
himself. He did himself.
Yeah.
Elder Hinckley set apart John Twetness as counselor, and maybe one other, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I still had my Nazarite vow after my baptism.
Yeah.
And like I said, I looked like Moses, I suppose, like a beard and this long hair. And
Yeah.
they tried to put pressure on me to, hey, it's about time to cut that off.
Yeah.
So Harold B. said, no, leave him alone. He'll grow as he grows in the gospel. He'll put those things away.
Do whatever he wants. Yeah.
But I had other ideas, because the Nazarite vow is a vow of consecration under the law of Moses, kind of like the temple endowment is for
Latter-day Saints.
For Latter-day
So
Saints.
once you
Once you have the
temple
gospel.
endowment. Yeah.
And there were Nazarites in the New Testament. Paul was one.
Mm-hmm.
After he went 3 years in that wilderness, I think he went. Did Paul do that? I think he did. Yes, I remember. And then after a certain time, you cut the hair, and then you go to the temple to offer sacrifice. And so I waited till I came to the U.S.
Go to the temple.
Yeah, and then 6 days before or something like that, I cut it off. Went to the barber. It took longer than usual.
That's crazy. So when I'm really interested in this Nazarite vow because it sounds really cool.
It is.
What made you want to start this Nazarite vow? Was there a spiritual experience, or what? What's the background?
Well,
of that?
I was always spiritual.
Yeah.
Even when I was a rock musician, I just basically put it on hold for a while. But once I realized that I was playing music that ravaged the soul, I just wanted to let that go and go in a better direction. And that's when I went to the Catholic Seminary.
So once you decided to quit rock music, that's when you started the Nazarite vow that you're consecrating
No,
yourself.
first I went to the Catholic Seminary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but only when I was close to 6 months before I left, New Zealand to go to Israel. That's when I started the Nazarite vow.
Started it.
Yeah.
Cool. And it was just kind of your way of saying, like, God, I'm going to Israel. I just want you to teach me, guide me, everything. I need to talk to my wife about me doing the Nazarite vow. It'd be pretty cool.
One title that people give us, but honestly, Latter-day Saints give ourselves, like, is Mountain Jews. People, like Christians that think we're Jews. When you were asking all these questions and stuff, like, from your, rabbinic school Jewish background, like, were there some similarities, or, I mean, maybe it came later when you were learning more about the temple and the endowment and stuff that really made you feel like, wow, this is it?
Yeah, the gospel, learning the gospel is like coming home. Yeah, like coming home. Mm-hmm. Joining the church was like coming home. And the Catholic life and the Jewish life had kind of now graduated toward the next step, which was the fullness of the gospel,
Yeah.
And it was like a gradual step-by-step process.
So with, I'm interested to hear your first experience with the temple, because the temple is something that we talk about a lot in the Stick of Joseph. We've done dozens of episodes talking about about ascension texts throughout the Old Testament and what they teach us about the temple and all that. What was your experience going through the temple the first time? Like, tell a little bit about that.
Well, I was very committed to the gospel, and at that time I didn't know much about Isaiah that I do now after coming to BYU and back in 1975, basically starting a serious study of Isaiah. This was in 1973 that I came to Utah. In 1975, I started into Isaiah seriously, and so at that time, I didn't know much about covenants like I do today, because really, as I mentioned, I'm not sure I mentioned this, but everything God does, He does within the context of the covenants He made somewhere with somebody. That's how He operates, and that's how we should relate to Him, is through covenant contracts that we make with Him. So I didn't fully know what to do about it, but as far as keeping these covenants, that were all good. They seemed to me very good. So I really didn't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
In those days, all of the penalties and those things were still in place. That if some of which had been removed.
Yeah.
To basically to placate, I believe, to somebody who wants a lesser law.
Yeah.
But in my mind, you can't take away the penalties. Everything has blessings and curses. If you take away the curses, then people don't get the whole story, what's involved. So, but no, they seemed somewhat natural to me.
Yeah.
I think those things. I knew Abraham had graphically demonstrated his penalties when he cut those animals into half.
Yeah.
And the fire passed through the animals. And basically that's saying, that's symbolizing that, hey, if I rebel against you, let this happen to me,
Yeah.
And so, and Deuteronomy 28 shows all the penalties of the Sinai covenant that Moses defined.
Yeah.
And so it was all good.
After your rabbinic training, what were from the Jewish standpoint, did the temple and all that, like how did it seem in that sense? Did it seem completely foreign from the Jewish perspective, or did it seem like
no, not at all?
Not at all.
I didn't find anything foreign to it.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, it's really cool. The thing that's so cool is like your story, growing up Catholic, taking that very seriously, going to become a priest, leave that, then you go to the Jewish. It's like you're taking these different facets of, Judaism and Christianity, and you find the home for both of them in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
Which is really cool.
Yes, it is. And I believe, and I have a testimony that anybody who wants to truly follow the Lord, follow God in his life, will eventually end up a member of the church. If they keep on the path, they will eventually get there.
Yeah.
no matter what their background is. Yeah.
So at this point, you're a member of the church, you've gone through the temple, and you start reading the Book of Mormon even more. You start diving into Isaiah at this point, right? Do you go to BYU, or how exactly does that work, your life's work?
BYU, and working on my master's in 1975, and started in on analyzing, translating Isaiah. I felt that I want to teach Isaiah. So and I actually did. I taught an honors class on Isaiah for the philosophy department after teaching in the religion department with Ellis Rasmussen. Ellis Rasmussen is the dean of religion. He was the first person that came on these LDS tours to Israel. He just took me under his wing right from the get-go, and it was a mentor of mine all the way through my time at BYU. Yeah, when I taught there, and also worked on another project that the church did, which was translating the Book of Mormon into Hebrew that President Hugh Nibley had authorized. Yeah, and I did that. They brought a scholar, Jonathan Shinari, after Hugh Nibley authorized it. David Galbraith got hold of Jonathan Shinari. He was kind of an adjunct at the Hebrew U, and he came over and spent a year translating the Book of Mormon into Hebrew.
Yeah.
And then they gave it to me to look at and to review. So paying me the modest amount that the translation department does. And so then he came back for another year and to revise his translation based on my review notes and whatever else he learned along the way. So then they looked at it again, Ellis Rasmussen and several other professors at BYU. And they said, still not good enough. So they gave it to me to revise, not just to review, but to revise, which I spent 2 years doing. And then I wanted to write my second book, The Desert Book. My first book was the Book of Isaiah, New Translation with interpretive keys from the Book of Mormon. My second book was The Last Days, Types and Shadows from the Bible and Book of Mormon. And when I came back to finish the diacritical marks and so forth, the church had lost interest in the Book of Mormon in Hebrew.
Why?
Eastern Europe had opened up.
Yeah.
And all of the budget money was going to Eastern European nations, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, so forth. And over time, they lost sight of it.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the stipulations of keeping the Jerusalem Center in Jerusalem is they can't proselytize with the Book of Mormon or anything like that. And so is that one of the potential variables of why
we don't have a translation?
They don't have a translation in Hebrew, like an official one?
I don't know exactly what the story behind that is. I heard things along the way from those with whom I was associated. And but the agreement, as I see it, was made with the religious Jews who are in a minority there, not with the main body, secular. Yeah. 80% of the population are secular and 20% religious, Orthodox. So however that happened, that then became the reality.
That became,
And so, and I don't know that is the reason the church dropped the translation. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But it may have been, unbeknownst to me.
Yeah.
But what did happen, the reality was that David Galbraith tried to get it done after all, and Ellis Rasmussen too, the dean of religion, he was from Correlation, and they never got any answers. It was just
dead in the water.
Forgotten.
Yeah. Huh.
So
interesting. What did you learn as someone translating the Book of Mormon into Hebrew?
Right.
I'm sure you got some really interesting insights.
Are the Hebraisms in the Book of Mormon legit?
Yeah. Absolutely, they are.
They're actually real.
It's a very sophisticated book.
So tell us some of these things that you discovered as you were translating it.
Well, dozens of chiasms, and cutting right across divisions of chapters. So Parley Pratt, I think it was, put the chapter divided into chapters.
Yeah.
He didn't know they were there. Or he wouldn't have divided the chapter halfway through a chiasm or something.
Yeah. How do you do that?
So,
There's one that I don't know how recently it was kind of discovered. You may probably know about it for a long time now, but the chiasm that involves the entire book of Mosiah.
I just read that recently, yes.
And that culminates in basically the
Isaiah
copying
54.
of Isaiah 53, I think.
Yeah, I think Isaiah 54. Isn't Isaiah 54 the very messianic?
53.
Oh, 53.
Yeah,
sorry,
who hath
Isaiah
believed our
53.
report.
Yeah.
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 That's Abinadi, right?
Yeah. So
Yes.
it culminates in that being the center
Now,
focus.
didn't the Ancient American Foundation publish that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I met the guy.
Oh, yeah, you were telling that Kirk Maggabee. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes, it's true. And I also discovered there's two classic ones in 3 Nephi 20 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
They're published in my book, The Last Days. But, they're interesting. They talk about the relationship between the house of Israel and the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, the house of Israel and the Gentiles.
And the Gentiles, yeah.
What is the relationship between the house, and who's defined as house of Israel and who's defined as Gentiles?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are the Ephraimite Gentiles. And Ephraim was assimilated into the nations.
Yeah.
The house of Israel in the Book of Mormon is defined always as the Jews or the 10 tribes or Lehi's descendants.
Mm-hmm.
We're always defined as the Gentiles. Even the Kirtland Temple dedicatory prayer, it says we who are identified with the Gentiles.
Yeah, considered Gentiles.
And which is correct. And the early brethren understood that. The rest of the Restoration, they understood everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't find fault with any of it scripturally. But today we have a lot more precepts of men that are just presuppositions that have no scriptural basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And since I learned how to analyze in the rabbinic school, that has become a part of me where I just analyze everything to death and make sure that it really is scriptural,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't just buy into whatever is the current
Fad.
narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. So you obviously discover chiasms and things like that.
Right.
Anything else that really stuck out as like, wow, this really is evidence that
text.
this is an ancient Hebrew text?
Well, Abinadi's dialogue with the priest of King Noah.
Mm-hmm.
It's classic Hebrew terminology and figurative language.
Mm-hmm.
And the covenant theology of the Book of Mormon is based on Hebrew covenants.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in our discussion on covenants, when we have that, I'll be talking about all kinds of covenants, and the Lamanite covenants follow the ancient Near Eastern emperor-vassal structure of an emperor-king with vassal states, city-states.
Yeah. So a vassal treaty, just so people understand, tell me if I'm wrong, a vassal treaty is essentially when there's a conquering nation, they come into these smaller nations and they have some sort of treaty that says, hey, we'll give you protection, this, and you're going to give us taxes, grain, whatever, right? And that's what a vassal treaty is, correct?
Yeah, it's basically a system of an empire that maintains order in the world or has power over
Smaller states.
Smaller city-states, those city-states. We can discuss that. But the emperor, they have a lord-servant relationship with the vassals, the emperor does, and that can turn into a son-father relationship. And those are technical terms meaning emperor and vassal.
Yeah.
And that's basically the theology of the gospel, of God's plan of salvation that Moses and the Hebrew prophets adopted. It probably goes back to the time of Adam and was originally a spiritual thing anyway, but it became the basis of the theology. The vassal king was the Lord, was the servant of the emperor, was called his lord. And if there was a mortal threat from outside against this vassal king's people, then he appealed to the emperor, who would rally his hosts. He was the Lord of hosts. Even the terminology is very similar to what we have in the gospel. And we can talk about that.
So you were saying that the Lamanites then have they follow kind of the vassal treaty covenant scenario. What did the Nephites?
That was one reason why they always thought they were right and that the Nephites should be subject to them, because
of he's the oldest son, right? Yeah,
right. They adopted that as a political system, but not as necessarily as a spiritual system.
Yeah.
And their gripe with the Nephites was because they were independent and wanted to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
They had their own kings who were not subject to King Laman or whoever, the emperor.
Yeah, interesting.
And having a knowledge of the manner of the Jews, reading it in the English, does it still come through? Like this is a Hebrew text?
Yes,
Or?
it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. In fact, sometimes you can tell that this was originally some kind of Semitic language or some other Semitic language because it uses those types of expressions. I can't think of any this moment, but yeah. The Hebrew verb, and it came in English, and it came to pass, right, is one word in Hebrew. One word with a prefix.
What is it?
And it came to pass?
Yeah.
Vaya.
Vaya.
Vayihiyeh. Yeah, vayihiyeh. And yeah, it's fascinating. So, and it came to pass. 5 words, one word in Hebrew.
One word, and it's kind of a connector.
You have prefixes that attach themselves to verbs and infixes and suffixes that attach themselves to a Hebrew verb, and it tells you all the pronouns and whether it's a noun or a verb. It could be either, and the gender,
tenses.
Yeah, what tense, all of that. So
interesting. When it came to translating, now this is my own pet theory of why Joseph Smith had to do King James, why he did King James English for the Book of Mormon.
Right.
But my pet theory is that it allows for a certain degree, but obviously not a perfect degree of back translation. So you can take words that are used in the Book of Mormon, look at the Old Testament, and then look at the underlying Hebrew word, and it can give you an idea of maybe some of the meanings of the Book of Mormon. Is that the route that you took? Like, did you always have an Old Testament open up and you were cross-referencing some of these phrases with Old Testament
no
language? No?
I knew the language well enough to figure
Or you
that
just
out.
knew it anyway. You just knew biblical Hebrew.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, the Book of Mormon borrows the King James translation of Isaiah when it quotes Isaiah.
Yeah.
And we had to deal with that because sometimes Joseph Smith would add things here and there. And I knew from the internal context of Isaiah that was not from Isaiah. But afterwards, thinking about it, I realized that he was trying to make sense of the English King James Version. And so adding adding his own little
Various
phrase in
things.
there to try to make it more intelligible. Because I think that if he had translated from the Hebrew directly through the seeing device of the seers don't know the Urim and Thummim, it would have caused controversy in the community he was trying to convert to. Yeah, they already had a King James.
Yeah, yeah.
They already had a translation, and the King James was the one everybody used.
Everyone
Protestants
used.
anyway. Yeah. The Douay Bible in Catholic is very similar to the King James. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, we had some problems with that. But to be true to the Book of Mormon, we still had to translate what it said.
What it said, yeah. Interesting. That's awesome. Well, what else do you have to share about your story as well, with your either your conversion or what's happened subsequently?
Well, I began with my studies on Isaiah by translating Isaiah, because I felt that the King James
was not
people
right.
couldn't understand it. So if the bullet stops at Isaiah,
Yeah.
the war.
With the Book of Mormon. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That joke people make about Isaiah, it's no joke really about. It maybe stopped at the King James translation. I don't know. That's a bit facetious.
Yeah.
Anyway, I felt that, so I did that. I spent a year working in the ladies' basement doing that. But I knew Hebrew fluently, but I also used dictionaries and lexicons and concordances for every word except prepositions. And I had 12 modern translations of the Bible
In front of you.
on Isaiah, word for word. I checked. That's why it took so long.
Oh my! How long did it take you again?
A year,
Full year?
Of working.
a whole
like,
year. Yeah.
Were you working all day? Was it a
Most of the
side
time.
project?
Well, at least half the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that can be found for people that are interested. That can be found on
Isaiah Explained?
IsaiahExplained.com. Yep. IsaiahExplained.com right here to see that trans. Do you have a physical? Do you sell a physical copy as well of the Isaiah translation?
Yes, and that one on Isaiah Explained is you have the King James, and then the Isaiah Institute translation, and then the Hebrew next to each other. Is that
the comparative translation?
Yeah,
you have the apocalyptic commentary,
Yeah.
and then interactive concordance,
Yes.
and you got the Masoretic text right there as well.
Yes.
For all you Hebrew readers. As
Now
well.
your question was.
No, we were just asking how long it took you, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think that was another question. Yeah.
Okay.
So you spent most of your time doing Isaiah. That's when you really got into it, and then started the Isaiah Institute. And
Well, I was giving lectures on Isaiah commentary, analysis. It later became this 30-hour apocalyptic commentary. That
Crazy.
is just a word-for-word analysis, verse-by-verse analysis. It's on the Isaiah Explained app also.
apocalyptic, does that not mean end times? I thought apocalyptic.
Yeah, because the whole book of Isaiah is an end
times thing. So
Exactly.
okay. So you have the apocalyptic commentary.
Yeah,
Awesome.
well, that's the thing that the literary structures that I discovered transformed the entire book of Isaiah into an end time scenario,
Wow.
according
that's
to what
crazy.
Jesus said it would be. That all things he spake have been and shall be, so that the historical parts of it, become an allegory of the end time as well. And so after that, I started analyzing. Well, I studied with Roland K. Harrison in Toronto, Canada, for a year, and he had discovered this. Well, actually, his colleague had discovered this structure in the book of the Dead Sea Scroll of St. Mark's Monastery. And so I analyzed that for my doctoral dissertation, and then I spent another 10 years of postdoctoral work on that structure
Crazy.
before I published my book, The Literary Message of Isaiah, which shows that it is an apocalyptic prophecy, confirming what my rabbi had taught me. Yeah, and the key that Jesus gave to understanding confirmed.
Yeah, share, because you shared that in a previous conversation we had. What did the rabbi teach you about Isaiah that you just referenced right there?
The rabbi said that the book of Isaiah applies to Isaiah's day and to the end time simultaneously. I said, well, how do you know that? He said, we have no proof, but it's a tradition among us. So I found the proof in that literature structure and in others. So there's no Deutero-Isaiah. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
I discovered another 5 or so structures in addition to that one. They all span the entire book of they're holistic structures. The one that I analyzed, that William Brownlee discovered in the Dead Sea Scroll of Isaiah, that is a synchronous structure, which means that the entire book is one scenario. So that entirely changes the rules for interpreting it.
Yeah.
From just being parts of historical and parts of future, it's all future.
Yeah.
And all historical as well. So.
And if your evidence isn't enough too, Jesus himself says something about Isaiah. Jack, are you pulling that up right now?
Yeah, remind me, it's 3rd Nephi.
I think it's
22?
right there. Yep.
Yeah, it says, "And now behold, I say unto you that ye ought to search these things, yea, a commandment I give unto you, that ye search these things diligently. For great is the words of Isaiah. For surely he spake as touching all things concerning my people, which are of the house of Israel. Therefore it must needs be that he must speak also to the Gentiles. And all things that he spake hath been and shall be, even according to the words which he spake."
So Jesus confirming right there exactly what your rabbi was saying, and
Yes.
that intuition that they had.
And Ecclesiastes 1:9 says, that which has been shall be. There's no new thing under the sun.
Yeah.
It's a Jewish way of thinking.
And it's the whole idea of like all truth can be circumscribed into one great whole.
History repeats
like,
itself.
History
Yes.
repeats itself.
Yes.
Like it's just
Right.
It's the same patterns
Yes.
in different scenarios.
The Hebrew mindset is not. It's not logical. It's typological.
Yeah.
History repeats itself, like you said.
Yeah.
But as it does, in the ancient world, there was a scenario that happened in Isaiah's day, but in the end time version of that is encompass the entire world.
Encompass the whole world. Yeah. instead of just that area where Isaiah was.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, we're actually going to be doing an episode on that tomorrow morning after we get a good rest. We're going to go into Isaiah and the end times prophecies. And so, yeah, oil up your scriptures or whatever you need to get them so you can flip quick. But we appreciate you, Avraham, coming out and sharing this story. It really,
it's a joy.
It's an amazing
crazy story.
It's
discussing
awesome.
the gospel is, and the way the Lord leads you. Is just
Why did that lady make you take the Book of Mormon?
Sure, she was impressed, felt by the Spirit.
Yeah.
She was a good, righteous lady.
How old was she? Was she an really old lady?
She would have been in her 40s or 50s.
Oh, man, so she's
God
probably
bless
gone
that.
now. But
Jewish librarian.
yeah,
Wow.
that's amazing. Well,
Probably the only Book of Mormon in Israel. It had been left there.
probably.
It had been left there by a Mormon volunteer
Uh-huh.
from the U.S.
Yeah.
She told me. And he thought maybe it was somebody might pick it up.
Yeah.
So
So it was for you.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. That's amazing. I wish we could know who it was that left it there. I wonder if they
Yeah.
ever, like they have no idea what
Yeah.
happened and what the body of work that has been created because of that as well.
yes,
it's
that's true.
incredible.
Yeah.
Wait, just before we end, then when in this whole process did you have 9 children? with
After
your
I
wife?
came to the U.S.
After you came to the
Yes,
U.S. and
as
converted.
I started.
Met at BYU?
I married at age 33.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, I met my wife, first wife,
Uh-huh.
at the Orson Hyde Club, which is a dance club, Israeli dance club.
Mm.
So we married within 3 months.
Wait, Orson Hyde Dance Club?
Yeah.
Does that still exist?
I don't know that he's still. But
That's such a weird name for a dance club.
Orson Hyde Dance Club. We should revive that. Let's buy a place.
sure, yeah. And
That's awesome.
my wife's Jewish.
Uh-huh. Oh, really?
It's a natural fit. Yeah.
Okay. Did she convert to the church, or was she just?
She was adopted. Well, not really quite adopted, but she lived with an LCS family and became like one of their daughters, and that took care of her until she had become a teacher. She was teaching high school in Roosevelt at the time. She would come into the Orson Hyde Club
Yeah,
to dance. She was a dancer.
that's really cool. And you're like, hey, I speak Hebrew. That's awesome. Well, that's great. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm excited to talk to you tomorrow about Isaiah and the end times. So,
Right.
all you guys watching, go to Isaiah Institute November 8th. There's going to be this awesome digital summit. And
Turn off YouTube.
read Isaiah. And until next time, stay curious and hungry.